Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest show on earth. As always, I am your co host, Caleb Griffin,
I'm your other co-host, Evan Lytle.
and we have a banger of an episode for you today. But first things first, cue the theme song.
Two nerds on a boat, two nerds on a boat, two nerds on a boat that we don't own. Two nerds on a boat, two nerds on a boat, two nerds on a boat that we don't own. It's Caleb
and Evan
and Evan
and Caleb,
we're on a boat
and we don't own it.
Two nerds on a boat, two nerds on a boat, two nerds on a boat that we don't own.
It's a great theme song.
It's a lovely theme song.
It's beautiful, man. It moves me to tears every time.
To tears.
Yeah. I'm crying right now if you couldn't tell. Today's episode, we are going to be doing a tier list of movie directors. But before we hop into that, Evan, Thanksgiving break, you having fun? Enjoying
Having
life?
a lot of fun. My birthday was Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in Starkville for my birthday working the state game.
Yeah.
So the actual birthday, not that, I mean, at least I was doing something. I think I would have been bored out of my mind just waiting there, like at home. Like when do I get to open stuff or just do anything?
Yeah.
Uh, so like at least I was doing stuff. I had fun. The game was good.
You ready to hop into this?
I believe so.
So
Huh?
do
Yeah.
we start with D or do we start with S? Which tier do we start with?
Mine's not really in order,
Mm-hmm.
so we can start wherever you'd like.
Um, we'll start with S. We'll just go
Okay.
ahead. We'll get the best. We'll get. Don't save the best for last. Let's go ahead and get the best out the way. Why don't we? I have three in my S tier. And my first, and I think this would be in everybody's S tier, is Steven Spielberg.
He is in
Um,
mine.
yeah, I mean,
Spoiler alert, I guess.
yeah, but like you go and you talk to somebody who like doesn't know movie directors, and you ask them who their favorite director is, they're gonna say Steven Spielberg. Like,
Yeah.
people know his name as a movie director. He's earned that right. He's done so many great things from Jaws to Indiana Jones to Jurassic Park. I mean, come on, it's Steven Spielberg.
Hmm.
It's pretty self-explanatory as to why he's going to be in S tier. My second one for my S tier, Quentin Tarantino. Um,
Solid pick.
only done as he puts it 9 films, but they're all great. At least the ones I've seen. I still need to watch Kill Bill, but I'm afraid I won't be able to sit through it because I am not good with gore. Um, but I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last night, and in classic Tarantino fashion, I am like, what's the point in this movie? Up until the
Yeah,
finals, up until the final scene, I'm like, oh, it kind of makes sense.
that
But
one's probably one of my least favorites.
really,
It's I mean it's super long. You're just kind of
it
sitting
is
there
really
like,
long.
okay, like,
Yeah, it
and
is
then at
really
the
long,
end,
but
and then at the end they do like the Manson stuff. I was like, oh, okay. I
yeah.
mean, my favorite part is Leonardo DiCaprio with the flamethrower. Just
I love the conversation he has at like with his neighbor at the end of the movie. Like, yeah, my dog or my friend and his dog killed two of them, and then I torched the other one. Torch, yeah,
yeah.
believe it or not, I got a flamethrower in my pool house. Like, oh, that's so funny. Or like whenever Austin Butler's character's like, I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's work, and Brad Pitt's like,
No, it was
nah,
dumber
it's
than
dumber
that.
than that. Yeah. Um, but I mean, Pulp Fiction in itself, even if that was the only movie he had ever released, that's enough for me to put him in the S tier because that movie's nearly perfect. And Django's a great movie. Um, he has some, I mean, he has a star on the Hollywood Boulevard for a reason. So finally, I saved him for last on my S tier because he is my favorite director, Martin Scorsese. Um, The Departed, one of my favorite movies of all time. I got on a big Scorsese kick like right after we did the top 10 movie list, and I wish I would have I wish I would have done that before because my movie list would be a little bit different. But Taxi Driver is a great movie. Raging, excuse me, Raging Bull is a great movie. Even though I don't necessarily love The Wolf of Wall Street, the thing that Martin Scorsese does better than anyone else is that he makes you care about the bad guy. Like
Mhm.
Jordan Belfort, is that his name? Belmont, something
Belfort,
like that. Belfort
Belfort.
was a
Yeah,
horrible person. I mean, stole millions of dollars from people, cheated on both of his wives countless times, did all sorts of illegal crap, but yet you want him to get away with all of it. And same thing in
yeah,
Taxi Driver, you're rooting for the bad guy. Like that's so insane and scary that Martin Scorsese has that power to make you want the bad guy to win. And I really need to watch Goodfellas. That's like the next on my list of movies to watch. But Martin Scorsese, he's my favorite currently my favorite director of all time. So that's why he got put on my S tier.
I did. This one's really a little bit of personal bias, but I think most tier lists are. I did
Yeah.
do an S plus,
Okay.
and it was just one, and it was Edgar Wright.
Okay. I like
Uh,
that pick.
he's done Baby Driver, Scott
Yeah.
Pilgrim versus the World, Shaun of the Dead, just very funny movies. I really respect him for his music choice. Like every Last Night in Soho, every movie he's done, he has a banger
He
soundtrack,
does.
and he's really good at like fast paced and kind of like you get involved with the characters, but like the way he actually like cuts scenes together is really fun,
Yeah.
and like it never feels overwhelming. So, and on to I also had just three S tiers. One of them was Spielberg. We already talked about him. He's just a goat.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, the Batman trilogy, then his individual films.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just overall. You ask any movie goer about a director, they'll probably mention Nolan,
They will.
and then George Lucas.
Yeah.
Though technically, yeah, he was a director, so
He
I
was.
I considered him. Yeah,
I
and
do
so he
too.
made S tier for S for Star Wars.
Yeah. Sure. Moving on to A tier. And we just talked about him, but George Lucas was in my A tier. Um, simply enough because of Star Wars.
Yeah,
American Graffiti, another movie I love by him. And even though he didn't direct it, he was a big part of the making process. But Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, um, that was a Spielberg directed movie, but I think George Lucas produced it and like was one of the writers for it.
yeah.
So, George Lucas for sure. Next on my A tier, the Russo brothers. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is just
Mhm.
perfect.
It's I think it's my favorite Marvel film.
Dude, it's other than No Way Home, it is my favorite Marvel
Yeah,
film. It is so good. Um, Not to mention the Russo brothers have also done a
The Gray
Community,
Man.
The Gray Man, which
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
the
good.
Community. Gosh,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And Infinity War, another movie that if it's in my top 5 Marvel movies because it is the cinematography in Winter Soldier, not Winter Soldier. Yes, Winter Soldier too, but Infinity War is just perfect. So, Russo Brothers A tier, and I'm excited to see I saw there was an article on Vogue, I think. They just bought like $1 billion studio to start making their own projects. So I'm very excited for the future the Russo brothers have. And they deserve it, man, because they make awesome stuff.
They
And
do.
my next person in my A tier is Ridley Scott. Um, American Gangster, Alien, Gladiator, Blade Runner, all great movies. And more recently, a movie that he's made that I really liked was House of Gucci. So, Ridley Scott, A tier. And then the last person in my A tier, the only reason he is not in S tier is because I am not a fan of Avatar. But James Cameron, he directed my favorite movie of all time, Titanic. Um, Terminator, and also Aliens. So
Yep.
I hope Way of the Water is good. I just wasn't a huge fan of the first Avatar. I think it's fine, but it's just not as hyped up as people make it out to be. So I had to mark them down for that.
I guess it's my A tier. Let's see. One, two, three. I have four.
All righty.
I've starting with Wes Anderson.
I
Really
respect it.
fun. I mean, that's fantastic, Mr. Fox. He's, or I think it's he. Yeah, he's very similar to Robert Zemeckis. They're just very unique. They have their own style. They don't really let anyone tell them what to do, really.
Yeah.
And then Robert Zemeckis, we have him. Back to the
Back to
Future.
the Future. Mm-hmm.
And the latest Pinocchio, the Disney Plus Pinocchio, it was pretty good. I
Yeah.
liked it. Then we have Matt Reeves, the Batman. He did that perfectly. And then lastly, we have Tim Burton, who also did Batman, but he does his own. He's very gothic style, but
Yeah.
I like his movies.
Yeah.
They're if I just sit down and watch them, I won't be disappointed.
I like it. Robert Zemeckis almost made like uh A or S tier for me because Back to the Future is one of like my favorite movies of all time. But it's just that's all I really know by him. So I just didn't
Yeah,
feel comfortable putting Zemeckis in a list when I didn't know too much about what he had done. But I respect it because Back to the Future. In my B tier, David Fincher, uh, Seven, Zodiac, and The Social Network are very good movies.
solid films.
Yeah, and a reason he would have been lower down just because I don't personally like Zodiac, but I know it's like very popular. But I love Seven and I love Social Network, but he also directed a lot of music videos for people like Aerosmith, Justin Timberlake, and Madonna, which I think is pretty cool. So I put him there for those reasons. And then I put this guy just because I needed to have some kind of comedy guy in there, and the best comedy director of all time, without a doubt, is Adam McKay. Um, Anchorman, the other guys, Talladega Nights, and The Big Short, which was more of a serious comedy, but it was still really, really good. And B tier, and his is a guy for me who is right on the cusp of B and C, but that's Christopher Nolan. Um, I love The Dark Knight, but I don't like Tenet, and I don't like Inception, and I don't like Interstellar. So, and that's just me personally. But I will say, one that's coming out, it's in post production right now, I think. But Oppenheimer,
Oppenheimer, yeah.
if that movie is great and as good as I think it would be, he could definitely possibly bump up to A tier because I love The Dark Knight. Right.
I have to say, I like Tenet. Inception's okay. I don't really care for Interstellar. I think it's overhyped.
Yeah.
Everybody's like Interstellar.
Yeah, I know. It's beautifully
It's
scored.
sad. Like it's not even like I can't even enjoy it. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
it's a heartbreaking movie, really,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be.
The soundtrack's beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
It's definitely scored very well, but I just don't think it's that good. It's hard for me to put this guy in B tier, but I had to stick with my gut. And I love this man so much, and that's John Krasinski. He
oh
has
yeah,
done A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2, but those movies are perfect. And I hate horror movies, and most thriller movies I don't like, but I love both of these because they're beautifully shot. And I want to see more from them. And I know it's kind of weird for me to put John Krasinski in B tier when he's known more for acting than he is directing, but when your first directing project goes that perfectly, it's obvious you have a talent for it. So I want to see more John Krasinski direction. And next is J.J. Abrams. Star Wars, Star Trek. He directed a few episodes of The Office. And
hmm
my personal favorite that he's done, Mission Impossible 3, which is the best Mission Impossible movie in my opinion. And once again, I had to mark him down just because Star Wars Episode 9 wasn't great, but what he was given to work with wasn't the best situation either. And I think, all things considered, he did a good job wrapping up a trilogy that was in shambles because of what happened in Episode 8, which that's a different conversation for a different time. But that is the end of my B tier list.
All right. I also had J.J. Abrams in my B tier, but for Star Trek because
Yeah.
I liked all three of his. The Kelvin timeline, I think, is what it is.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And then next, I had Jordan Peele. I mean, Key and Peele,
Yeah.
but also he's done Get Out, Us, and Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's really good as a director and a storyteller. But like, I just kind of get lost whenever he has to make a point in his movies to make a point about something in our world. It's like, it's a movie, you're allowed to
Yeah.
just sit down and watch it. But like he still succeeds like phenomenally in making his points.
Yeah.
And so I just think he's a great director and storyteller. So he made B tier. Russo brothers actually did make B tier for me, but only because like they're just action guys, and there's nothing
That's
wrong with
I
that.
mean, that's
I
fair.
respect them.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So they made B tier, and that's not even that bad. But
No,
that's
it's not.
just those are my three for B.
Nice. I have two in my C tier, and that's for a fact. But my C tier, Ryan Johnson. He is
I think
very
that's fair.
yeah, he's low because of Star Wars Episode 8. And he's high. I'd say this is high for him because Knives Out, he would have been an F tier director just because of how bad I think he screwed up the trilogy that was going to happen in Star Wars. But Knives Out was such a great movie that he's C tier now. And if Knives Out, a Glass Onion is good, he'll be B tier. And if they've already announced a Knives Out 3, so that's
Mhm.
good. If he can show me he can do a successful trilogy, then maybe he could move on up because Knives Out's a great movie. And also to throw in, he did 3 episodes of Breaking Bad, which is a great show. So put that in there. And then my last C tier, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. This is a biased one, but I had to be like as honest with myself as I could. Eric Bruig. He's the director of Yogi Bear, which I think is a fantastic movie. And also, I put him in C tier, not because he directed these movies, but he did a lot of the special effects and assistant directing on movies like Scrooged, Men in Black, and Pearl Harbor, which have some amazing effects and great cinematography in there. So I gave him credit for that, for helping on those movies, and that's why he's in C tier. And that is my C tier.
That's solid. I
Yep.
think that's solid. My C tier. Let's see. I have the Safdie brothers. They did Fast Life, Good Times. I think it has Robert Pattinson. It's a really good movie. They did Uncut Gems.
Great
Honestly,
movie.
I think C tier is pretty low for them, but like it's just kind of their style. Very gritty,
Yeah.
very kind of like real world-ish. So I respect them for that, but they didn't really make the cut for me. They're not like my favorite movies that I just want to like sit down and watch.
Yeah.
But they're good movies, so that's kind of like where C hits for me. I did have Raimi in C. His Spider-Man trilogy absolutely carried,
It
of
does.
course. But then like after that, like the Ash of the Evil Dead, The
Yeah.
Grudge, like all his horror movies and Multiverse of Madness,
I agree.
they kind of made it balanced. It's like here's Spider-Man, and then like it's on the up, and then the rest of his movies bring it down. So kind of
Yeah.
like his status.
I'm with you there.
And then lastly, I had Guy Ritchie, and he's kind of like in the C or D area. His movies they're interesting. They're gangster movies, really. The
Mhm.
Gentleman, Wrath of Man, uh, others. Those two stick out the most. But they're good movies. They're just, they're nothing special
Yeah.
for me, anyways.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's kind of like borderline C or D.
Fair. Valid. I have one in my D tier, and of all the directors I've mentioned so far, I've had respect for them, and I've liked at least one or two of the movies they put out, if not more. This is a guy there's not been a single thing he has done that I've said, you know what, that's a solid movie. And he has done things that I've said, you know what, that may be the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Yet he is still very famous in the movie industry world, and people know his name, and I don't understand why. Maybe it's because of how bad he is, but yet he still gets hired to do things. M. Night Shyamalan, if I pronounce his name right, dude, not seen one good movie from him. And not to mention, he did Avatar: The Last Airbender. He took something that was already perfect. He really didn't have to do too much work and completely ruined it. And I don't get how that's even possible. I feel like if you would have given me the script already written for Avatar: The Last Airbender with the resources they had for that movie, I could have done it better. And I have one short film to my name. That's all I got. So, I don't want to like sound cocky or anything, but like, how do you mess up Avatar? It's very hard to mess up Avatar, and he did it. So, for that reason, and like I said, he has this new move thing. I don't know that came out recently
Oh,
called Old, where like
yeah.
people have been living there this whole time or whatever. I watched it and I just wasn't a fan. M.
Yeah,
Night
I know.
Shyamalan.
I just asked my parents because they like watched it when it was on HBO or whatever. Like, what was the
Mhm.
twist? Because I don't want to waste 2 hours. Because that's what he's known for. He's known for like the twist
Yeah,
at the end. It's like, oh yeah, they drank like water that had a chemical or something in it. I was like, well, that's stupid.
it was a stupid movie. So
And he's got a new one coming out, The Knock at the Cabin or something. I
yeah,
saw the trailer for it when I watched Black Adam. I mean, he did the Unbreakable. What is it? Unbreakable? I think so with Bruce Willis. Then he did Split, and then he
he
did
he did The
Glass
Sixth Sense. That's
and
a
Sixth
movie.
Sense.
That's a movie I like, but just looking at his Rotten Tomato scores for everything, 50, 36. Split
Yeah,
got 78, After Earth got 12, Devil got 49, Last Airbender got 5. It should have gotten 0. The Happening got 17. The Lady in Water got a 25. Village got 43. Unbreakable got a 7. He did Stuart Little and Sixth Sense, which got so okay. I've seen 2 movies by him that I like, Sixth Sense and Stuart Little. But you can see there's a lot more bad than there is good on his list, and I think that's for good reason. Did you have a D tier?
not really.
That's fair.
I
I
couldn't
mean,
really. I couldn't honestly. I couldn't even think of enough directors. I had the list that I wrote, and I was like, "There's tons of directors out there, but
yeah,
this is all I can just think of off the top of my head." So we're gonna wing it. I did have two directors. I just didn't really know where to place. I had Denis or Dennis Villeneuve, or however you pronounce it. I probably butchered that. He did Blade Runner 2049, Dune. Big sci-fi guy, but like
yeah,
his movie, like visually, his movies are just stunning. And then I had Michael Giacchino, who did Werewolf by Night, and he's
yeah,
done some Disney movies. He did Up. He did the soundtrack with it. I don't know if they directed it, but he had some roles with Up,
yeah.
and just Werewolf by Night was really good, and but it was like it's a little too new, and like that's all I know for sure that he did. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I just didn't really know where to place the Dune director. He's just kind of in his own category for me.
Sure. I enjoyed making the tier list, man. It was a fun
I enjoyed
experience.
it a lot.
We'll
Yeah.
have to do something like silly and goofy one time or a couple times because that'll be fun. But you said you played God of War,
I have
Ragnarok.
been playing it. I
How?
haven't beat it. I don't even know like how far I technically am. I
Yeah.
like just got to my first world, but it doesn't take that long to get there. But it's a lot of fun. It
Nice.
was worth it. And I
Is it a
think I'm gonna
beautiful
be
game?
looking is well, you can actually in the settings you can choose uh quality over frame rate, or you can choose frame rate over quality. I'm like, well, I want the quality. Why would
Yeah.
I don't care about frame rate. And it is a gorgeous game.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, just the experience and all the surrounding is fun.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'll look around for maybe Gotham Knights or Miles Morales Friday or Monday when they have the massive deals everywhere.
Right.
Just because I don't want to pay full price for either of those.
I'm with you.
I
Yeah.
would have I would have paid full price for Gotham Knights before I had seen the reviews, just because of the Batman fan in me.
Like getting a PS5, which is exciting. Um,
Yep.
just in time for hopefully uh there was some person on Twitter who like said, guys, I gotta be honest, I'm really nervous. Like they haven't released anything about Spider-Man 2. Is
I
it actually
know.
gonna come out in 2023? But Insomniac tweeted that person back and was like, don't worry, we're still on schedule, everything's
Yep.
going great, and we'll be releasing in 2023. Wolverine, is that also supposed to be 2023?
It is.
Okay.
And Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, I saw that one
That
too.
was supposed to be this year actually. That was supposed to
Hmm.
be in October. Then it got delayed.
Yeah,
I think those three will be fun, just superhero games.
yeah, for sure.
Modern Warfare 2, heard
Hmm.
good things. I might get it if it's on sale.
It comes with my PS5, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
have it
I mean, I might get it
regardless.
if you want to play it like
Yeah,
online or something.
yeah,
Um, oh, I watched Wakanda Forever
yeah. What do you think of it?
Sunday night. It was good. It
Yeah.
was honestly, I was sitting there, I was like, Namor had no reason to attack Wakanda. Like,
That's what I'm
realistically,
saying. Like, what? I don't know. Like, I also hated my least favorite part about the movie, other than some of the visual effects, because some of them just look bad. But that's Marvel nowadays, anyways. But the fact that he attacked Wakanda and then was like, "I'll be back in 1 week's time." Like, I hate when villains do that in a movie. Like, you could end everything, solve all your problems right then and there, and you're just like, you know what? No, I'll give you time to think. Like, I hate that so much. To me, that's just
I
lazy
hated
writing.
I
But
hated that they went out like he controls an army of the sea. So how are you gonna fight him? You're gonna take a boat out to the middle. I was like, that's stupid.
I didn't even think about that.
You're at a tactical disadvantage. Like,
I didn't even think about
okay,
that. But that's
she's
so
one of the
true.
smartest people. She's one of the smartest people on the planet. We're gonna fight him in the water.
Yeah, I like it. I like this strategy. I didn't even think about that,
Yeah,
but that's so true. Um, but
but it was a good movie. It's
yeah, it was a good
enjoyable.
movie.
Honestly, for me, it was probably like a 6.5, maybe 7.
Yeah,
Uh, just just because some of the writing felt lazy. The acting was good.
acting was very good.
The visuals were, enjoyable. They weren't the best, but they weren't like awful.
Yeah.
And the story was good,
Hmm.
even though when you kind of sit down and think about it, he had no reason to.
Yeah. Um,
But I mean, it was just an enjoyable movie.
yeah. It was better than I thought it would be.
The Guardians holiday comes
Yeah,
out
soon.
tomorrow,
I
soon,
think so.
sometime in November.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's
this
tomorrow.
weekend. It might be
Yeah,
tomorrow. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited for that. Um, as well. We can review that maybe next week if it's out,
and
which I think it is.
Andor's final episode.
Comes out tomorrow, man.
Oh
That
man,
show's
I've
so
caught up.
good.
It is.
So good. Do you think it's better than The Mandalorian?
I think so. I think I like it more.
High five.
It's
Give
just
me some for that. That it is. And I'm not hating on The Mandalorian because The Mandalorian's
no.
perfect. It's
I mean,
beautiful.
when it came out, we talked
But
about it. We were like, they're neck
yeah,
and neck right now, and now Andor's like,
dude,
it's just
Andor is so good. Like, I cried last episode. And
dude.
I don't want to rate it right now and say it is like completely better than Mandalorian because we still have a finale and they have to wrap it up somehow unless they're going to do a second season. But it it's so good. Like, how did you ruin Boba Fett and Obi-Wan so hard, but you came out with Andor and just like blew my mind. Like, I don't get how they did it, but they did it, and I'm happy because Andor is fantastic and
It is. It is so good.
it's so good. Like, it it's bone chilling how good it is.
The Menu, that movie came out. I haven't watched it.
I don't think
It'll
I'm
be
gonna go see
interesting.
it. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna go pay to
I
get.
don't know
I'll
that
watch it
one. Yeah,
I'll watch it when it streams.
when
But I'm
it's
not gonna.
streaming. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna pay to
like
see it.
Nope came out streaming. I never watched it in theaters, but I watched it the other day.
Was it
That's
good?
actually that's the only reason Jordan Peele made the list. It was pretty good. It was its own thing.
Yeah. I think Daniel went and saw it in theaters, and he said it was really, really good. But I would need to go watch it. What's it on? What's it streaming on?
It's on Peacock.
Peacock. JJ has Peacock. I watch it on Peacock. Nice. Big Dub. You and
Big Dub.
Caleb Ladd recorded the first episode of
Yes,
Big Dub. We still got to get
we did.
still got to get some artwork and some logo concepts going before that gets released, but that's coming very soon. Hope everyone's having a great Thanksgiving break, and
Mhm.
we'll see you guys next time. I'm Caleb,
I'm Evan.
and you have been too nerded on a boat.